Well, good afternoon. It's 222. And this is the video for April 8th, 2014. And the title is The Creator's Human Obligation. I was contacted by African delegates to Swiss-Indo very early this morning after I posted my video on Facebook about alternative monetary systems. Ashton Moses and Mark Anthony Collins were in Mr. Sugi's home in Cirebon, Indonesia, and wanted to talk with me about the human obligation and distribution of funds from the collateral accounts. The intent, of course, is to clear up misconceptions as much as is humanly possible. The video we created had, as usual lately, technical issues. Rather than post it, Ashton suggested that I talk about our conversation in my own words. I've listened a couple times now and will do the best I can. The most important thing, as I see it, is to understand that the human obligation is the Creator's responsibility to provide mankind what is needed to create heaven on earth. That is the goal and intent of the Swiss-Indo delegation. And I typed a word wrong. So as I said, I was posting my video sometime after 2 o'clock this morning. It was really early for me, and got a message that said, "Good evening, Ron." It wasn't evening. And there's 11 hours difference between them and me. It was going on 4 o'clock my time when we finished, and going on 3 o'clock their time in the afternoon, and mine in the morning. Anyway, the idea of covenant came in toward the end of the conversation when Mark revealed to me that it's really about when God put man on earth. God's intent was to bring heaven into the physical realm of earth, or to make the spiritual physical. That was the intent of God, and mankind would have easily been able to accomplish that had they followed God's plan. Unfortunately, they veered off course. When I say they, we veered off course as prodigal children and decided to do our own thing and not obey the principles of natural law, basically. The law of do no harm. The law of don't violate the free will of anybody else. The basic principles of common law upon which the United States and the British Commonwealth and other things were supposedly founded, and even the United Nations was founded with a Declaration of Human Rights with the intent to do good, but everything in creation has been veering off course from the beginning of time, probably, or the beginning of this phase of our history, however you want to look at it. In any case, God promised man that as long as you follow my ways, you will be blessed in all of your ways. If you decide to go a different route, you're going to suffer consequences, because that's how it works. You always end up paying the piper. You always end up reaping what you sow. That's creation. And that's the way reality is, regardless of whether you're in a physical or a spiritual dimension. In any case, Mr. Sugi took the mission provided to him by Spirit, by God, by Creator, to help bring about what John Kennedy and Mr. Sukarno tried to do in 1960, to end the corruption of the Federal Reserve and the corruption of the cabal and the old world order that has been trying to keep humanity from awakening, trying to keep us from remembering who we are. And anyway, Mr. Sugi has been given that mission, that assignment, and the Swiss-Indo delegates are ministers to bring that about. In fact, I referred to Ashton at one point as a delegate, and he says, well, we're more like ministers now. And rather than just delegates, we're more like ministers. And a minister is one that does, as I see it, one that does the will of God. And so, in a sense, we are ministers. And I don't mean that in a clergy or religious sense, but I mean one who is a servant of a higher purpose, a higher calling. And I've always considered myself a man of God or a minister from the very beginning. So to be part of the delegation and to be a minister on the delegation is just a normal and natural thing. It's what I was created to be and do. And it's my mission, it's my calling. Anyway, there were some interesting things that came out in the discussion. We talked about the $6 million. We talked about the $600, the allocation, the minimum allocation to every human being on the planet is $600 a month. Now we, of course, realize that someone living in the United States, for example, $600 doesn't go very far. But $600 in Indonesia or in a third world country could go a long way. Actually, $600 a month, you could live quite comfortably on that because the economies are not balanced and not different, or they're not the same. They're imbalanced. Anyway, the important thing that I got out of it is these are not fixed numbers. If someone has greater needs, all they have to do is make it known that, look, I need more money. I need more money and I need it for this. As long as it's not going to be used to harm anyone else. See, this is the catch-22 in distributing the funds. We do not want the funds distributed a blanket across the thing so that psychopaths can use it to hurt other people. We want people to follow basic principles. And the money being released to any existing government is being released with conditions attached. The conditions are you have to operate under common law. Do no harm, cause no loss, do not violate the free will of another, and honor lawful contracts. Allow people to contract with each other and make sure contracts get honored. Now, there's a lot of professions on earth that will not benefit from this because they exist to prey off of other people, to take advantage of people. The legal profession cannot operate the way it's operated because they've lied, they steal, they are the most corrupt of all professions, and along with banking, on the face of the earth. They will not be able to operate anymore the way that they've operated in the past. There's going to have to be a complete restructuring. And of course, the armaments industries. Any company that's building arms in the arms race as part of the military-industrial complex, those jobs are not going to be needed anymore. And so that's going to create unemployment. However, there's going to be massive new employment as projects are funded to advance mankind's evolution and to make for a peaceful prosperity to engulf and be experienced planetary across the entire earth, the planetary wide, all over, to experience peace and prosperity and abundance and creativity and just a rebirth of just newness and ideas and productivity. And so there's the Venus Project. It was the very first project that Mr. Sugi approved blanket. And there's many others that are being considered right now. And I don't know what they all are. We did not go into that in any detail at all. Only that Mr. Sino was very happy, and his desire is to see the Venus Project and Jacques Fresco's vision to be implemented in every country and build these kind of cities everywhere on Earth. And of course, free energy and the other things you've heard us talk about, the healing technologies. All of these things are technologies that will need people to be participating in it. And if you have big visions and big dreams to help humanity, the amount of money in your trust fund is virtually unlimited. If you use up your $6 million, you'll get another $6 million on top of that because it's basically infinite. And the $600 a month, that's just the minimum. That's the minimum wage of human beings. Everybody on earth is going to get a minimum of $600 a month once these funds are released. And there's still some confusion among some of the governments that are investigating this, including the Laotian government, on how to set up the law so that it coincides with the intent of protecting people's rights, the intent of making it fair for everyone, and not trying to tell people what to do, but preventing people, yes, preventing people from creating things that are damaging and destructive. We just cannot have that kind of creativity abused on the planet anymore. The idea of creating something to hurt someone else is just foreign to establishing the kingdom of God or the kingdom of heaven on earth. It's just a foreign concept. It won't work. It's the way the cabal has worked. We don't want to fall into that again. But there is unlimited resources available. Whatever we need, all we have to have is the vision and make the requests known, and the funding will be there. It's not asset backed, it's need related. It's not based on how much you own. It's based on how big your vision is. How big is your desire to help others and to be a blessing to your community and to the worldwide community and to the galactic community? How big is your vision? How big is your intent? What kind of character are you bringing to the table? Are you bringing a character that is bent on greed and power and lust for just control over other people? Is that your character? If it is, you're not going to succeed in the new system. You're not going to be able to accomplish those visions. You'll still get your $600 a month, but you probably won't get anything else, as far as I'm understanding what they were telling me. And everything that you draw is against your trust, but your trust is infinite. Again, not based on how much you have, but based on how big your dream is and how much you wish to help and what your character is. The whole thing lines up with building character. It lines up with determining for yourself how much you're willing to go God's way, which simply means it's not a religious thing. Please get that out of your head. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew or a Buddhist or a Hindu or a Taoist or an atheist or whatever your religion might be. And I threw atheist in there on purpose because atheists may have it right because they see all these religions fighting over whose God is the biggest God or the best God or the only God or whatever, and they realize how insane that is. So they just come to the conclusion that there can't be a God if this is the way it is. Well, there is a God. There is a creator. There is something beyond man. And if you try to deny that, you're not going to probably have very good character. But I know a lot of atheists that actually do have good character and high standards of ethics. And so it's not a matter of which religion you are. It's still a matter, it boils down to, what's your character like? What is your vision? And how do you see yourself relating to everyone else in the world? Do you see yourself as an authority figure? You're going to have a rough time because you can't be an authority over anybody but yourself. And I can't be an authority over anyone but myself. That's what a minister is. A minister ministers to others. And I'm a minister. I'm a delegate who is a minister. And I don't know exactly what role I'm going to play. It's going to be according to my vision. And that's the whole point. That everything that we have, that we're creating, is to bring heaven to earth and to make a world, as I've said over and over again, a world that works for everyone, that leaves no one behind, that gives you the opportunity to fulfill your vision, to fulfill your dream, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. Those are the basic ground rules. Now, as far as debt forgiveness goes, the way it was explained, and these are the words, Mr. Sugi will use the collateral accounts to basically pay off all the existing debt. Now, I didn't question further. I would assume that that means all of personal debt, all of the mortgages, car payments, student loans, all of this kind of personal debt. I don't know if it means all the insane so-called national debt, which is totally fictional, not real at all. There's no basis to it whatsoever. But the other kind of debt, at least, I imagine when they said he will buy up all that, it means that all of that will be paid. So that will level the playing field a great deal and lower the cost. But the thing is not to create superinflation or anything that makes money worthless, but actually to make everything worth more. And it doesn't come from the money. The value comes from your character and your vision. And if you can get that, you can understand what we're trying to do. We're not trying to create an imbalance. We're trying to balance everything out so that everybody on the planet can be blessed. The planet itself can be blessed, and all creation can be blessed because everything is interconnected. So I hope Ashton and Mark, I hope you are satisfied with my presentation of how I'm explaining it, and I hope the other delegates are also clearer in how this is. It's not fixed. Again, the point is it's God's human obligation toward us, and it's unlimited based on things that matter to God. And I'm going to close for now. Namaste. Thank you for listening.
8, 7.